I am sex and relationship coach Caitlin V, and I am here to share with you something very, 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 very secretive. Just kidding. It's not a secret anymore, obviously, because I'm sharing it with you on YouTube. But I have been sitting on this seriously for like 2 years. And I apologize because this is about to take your lovemaking, sex life, call it what you want, up to a level 11. Okay, enough prelude. What are we talking about here? Drum roll, please. We're talking about the vestibular bulbs. If you're thinking that is the least sexy title of anything you've ever heard, you are right. The bulbs of vestibule. Not a sexy name, but a very sexy part of the female anatomy. Too many men and women and anyone who loves female-bodied, vulva-having people focus on the clit or on penetration to cause stimulation and bring a woman to orgasm. And they're not wrong. The clit is like a tiny little firework powerhouse of amazing nerve endings and pleasure, and absolutely it feels good and it should be stimulated. But the clit is just part of a network of tissue in the vagina and vulva that becomes aroused and engorged and indeed erect. Women have erectile tissue just the same way that men have erectile tissue. It's just that when men's erectile tissue, it is in one area, one organ, one part, one piece, all the erectile tissues all right next to each other, packed into the penis. In women, there are 5 different areas of erectile tissue. We got it spread out. So the clit is very much one of those areas. And now I'm going to teach you about areas 2 and 3. 2 bulbs, hence their name, of tissue that sit on the left and the right side of the vaginal opening on the outside of the body, aka the vulva, but tucked into the lips or outer labia. So imagine that the clit actually has 2 legs. These are actually called the crura, which I happen to think is a beautiful name and sounds a little bit like a dessert. The clit would be right here, and then the crura, left and right, run down either side of the clit towards the vaginal opening on the left and the right. Now, these legs are very small, very thin. They're not super firm. They're not really possible for you to feel just by pressing along or feeling underneath the skin around the clitoris or down the 2 labia. But the vestibular bulbs, which happen to run along the crura of the clitoris, you can feel. Here's the thing. You can feel them when they become engorged, inflamed, aroused, erect. You can't usually feel them if you were just going to go up and rub your hands along the outside of a vulva, but they are there and they are key to the overall system of arousal for a female-bodied woman, vulva-having person. And by the way, if you're thinking, Caitlin, what the heck? I have seen plenty of vulvas. I never noticed these things. I've never heard about them. These are not in any other videos on YouTube or any other of the anatomy books that I've read. Yeah, that is because 99% of people do not even know that these exist. And I'm talking about women as well. Even I only recently came across this information, and that is when I developed the technique that I am about to share with you, Caitlin V's triangle technique. Now, the triangle technique is something that you can do during oral sex, okay? And it is basically, if you imagine a triangle, imagine your female partner's body as a triangle with the clitoris on top and then the vestibular bulbs on either side of the vaginal opening on the left and the right. This technique, all it requires you to do is to start to stimulate her clit with your tongue and then move to one bulb and then move to the other bulb. All you're trying to do is stimulate these. So I recommend putting a little bit of suction to pull blood into the erectile tissue. Maybe if she's open to it or she's a little kinky, you can give little nibbles, just gentle, light little nibble. I'm remembering this is very, very sensitive skin. And you can put pressure again with your tongue, sort of pushing the bulbs up against the body. What you will notice, what will let you know that you're doing this correctly, is that they will begin to inflame. They will begin to become larger. You will begin to be able to feel them better with your tongue or your lips or with your fingers. you will actually be able to see visually that the outside of her vulva gets a little bit deeper, darker in color, and puffs up or begins to look inflamed. If you've ever had sex with someone and you roll over and you look at her vulva after sex and it was puffy on the outside, that's because of the vestibular bulbs. So by using the triangle technique during foreplay, incorporating the vestibular bulbs into foreplay, you are actually going to increase the chance of her reaching orgasm. The only way that you'll know for sure that it works is if you go test it out. And I fully expect to see all of your thank yous in the comments below. So, in summary, secret female anatomy that is right there has been hiding in plain sight that whole time. The vestibular bulbs, they run along the legs of the clitoris, behind the labia or the lips of the vulva, and basically on either side of the vaginal opening towards the top. You can stimulate them with pressure using your fingers, or with pressure, suction, and maybe little squeezes using your lips, tongue, and teeth if she's into that type of thing. Remember to subscribe below so that you don't miss any of my amazing tips for creating the sex life of your dreams.